Welcome back inside historic Bossy Field. We're ready for game two between the Windy City Thunderbolts and Evansville Otters. A pleasant good evening to you. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otters Baseball on both the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We're pleased you're joining us here for another edition of the Otters. And, you know, it's funny. This is a two-game set so far between Windy City and Evansville of two close games, of two low-scoring games, of two teams making sure that they're taking advantage of the other side's errors. And I don't mean errors on the scoreboard in the error category. I mean too many walks in a row or a pitch that just gets left a little too high in the zone. And in game one, it was Evansville able to strike a couple extra times and then making the most of a 10th inning mistake that led to their game-winning RBI. As for game two, Windy City took advantage of Watland leaving two pitches just a tad bit too high, and they were able to drive him out towards right field and win the game 3-1. And it was really a game that was decided by just three small plays. And now we're just about set for game two here, and another intriguing pitching matchup. Brian Ketchie will be on the mound for Windy City. Enters the game 1-1, a 3.28 ERA. He's been really solid this year, and the one thing that I can assure you about Ketchie, he's not going to give away free passes hardly at all. Just two walks so far all season. He's very careful about when those get handed out. On the other side of things, it's Ryan O'Reilly for the Otters, and he has been the tough luck loser in a couple of games, most of all just because he's not getting run supports. He was able to pick up a couple of no decisions. Both times he had no decisions, the team ended up winning. But in both of them, or in one of them, he gave up a lot of runs. The other one, it was a beautiful performance, but the offense wasn't helping on the other side, and they ended up getting another no decision. He does have a couple of losses so far in the season, both of them giving up a lot of runs. The latter at Gateway, a lot of non-caused errors that led to things. An error out in center field or a base running error from the Otters, and those little things all added up to a loss in the scorebook for Ryan O'Reilly, despite a really strong start for him. His last one there against Gateway this last weekend, he gave up 5 runs on 4 hits in 5 innings of work, but of those 5 runs, just 1 was earned. 3 of them came off the Miles Gordon error out in center field where he overran a ball. The ball rolled all the way to the center field wall, and it was an in-the-park home run that scored 3 runs. Other than that, he pitched a really solid game there at the Grizzlies last weekend. He'll look to keep the good things rolling and hopefully pick up his first win of the season against this Windy City team. As for the starting 9 for Windy City, pretty similar to what we've seen in the remainder of this series thus far. Richards, Robinson, and Myers starting off, those 3 lefties. Then you get a couple switch hitters and single lefty in the middle parts of the order, rounded out by the first baseman, Jose Layer. Pretty similar to what we saw in game 1. A quick look over at Evansville and what we're going to see from them. Gary Mattis will be the Edward Jones leadoff hitter once again. But we do have a couple of changes here. Steven Sinsley is actually going to be in this game in the 8 hole, fresh off a little bit of a illness for him, looking to bounce back. Had 1 at-bat in that last game, came up empty-handed in it, however. We're going to see Baez stick in that 5 hole. I'm excited to see that. Want to see what Baez can start to put together in the middle of this order before he moves back up to the 3 hole. Other than that, everything looks the exact same it did in the first game, except of a couple of position changes. Phillips is going to be behind the plate as opposed to Felix. Everything else looks pretty much similar. Run you through what we know about the standings right now. Because Evansville lost that last game, they're now a full game back of Washington in the standings. But Washington is currently losing in their game this evening. So if Washington loses and Evansville wins, they will be tied for first there in the West Division. Also worth noting, there's a change down towards the bottom as Lake Erie fell in their game to New Jersey, so they stayed trending in the wrong direction in the West Division. We'll also run you through the Fox Sports Wyfx Frontier League scoreboard as to what we're seeing so far. Of course, New Jersey getting that win against Lake Erie. That's the only other final so far today. Empire State and Quebec, they are postponed to July 12th, as well as Ottawa and Trois-Rivières. Some rain up in the Canadian area causing both those games to not be played. Tri-City is now trailing Washington, so the Otters are hoping for a Tri-City comeback in the later couple innings there. Bottom of the fourth inning, New Jersey leads Lake Erie 3-2. In the seventh, Sussex County with a big 8-1 lead over New York. That's a big win for Sussex County if they can do it, because they're actually trending towards the wrong side of the East Division. Gateway currently leading Schaumburg. The Otters want Gateway to win that game because a loss by Schaumburg and a loss by Washington gives the Otters a chance to be the only first-place team at the end of the evening. Also going on tonight, Joliet has a 4-1 lead over Florence. Looks like we are just a couple minutes away from game time, so we'll take our final break before first pitch here. Game 2 of our doubleheader and Game 3 of the three-game set between Windy City and Evansville. It's a rubber match. Both sides would love a series win. We'll have first pitch coming at you live on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with first pitch. And we're ready for first pitch here between Windy City and Evansville. I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. Hey, they're in the ballpark tonight. I know you're probably not listening here on the Otters Digital Network or Flow Sports, but want to remind you guys that Working Distributors, we're glad that you're partnering with the Otters, and we're even more glad that you're joining us here at Bosse Field for a doubleheader between Windy City and Evansville. Ryan O'Reilly, the starting man for the Otters in Game 2 here. Man, he really needs a strong outing to just get him back on the winning ways of things and get the morale a little bit high. He's 0-2 officially on the year, but in his starts, the team is 2-2. So he's looking to pick up win number 1 officially on the season. He'll be throwing home to Dakota Phillips, that pitcher catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Call 812-475-9000. First pitch is ball 1. Now O'Reilly attacks the high outside corner and able to even the count at a ball and a strike to Jarius Richards, who is the leadoff man once again for Windy City. In our prior game, Richards had a solo home run in the 4th inning. That set the table for them to, 2 batters later, take the lead. As once again, O'Reilly attacks the zone and is ahead in the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. O'Reilly gets his count and sends home the 1-2. Thinking about going was Richards, and he ends up with a German American Bank strikeout looking to start off this game. The first strikeout of the game for Ryan O'Reilly. Baez, Gordon, McNamee across the outfield. Davis, Armstrong, Mattis, and Biermann across the infield. Phillips behind the plate for the Otters. Just a little tiny different look from game one of our doubleheader. Opening pitch to Robinson from O'Reilly. Works towards the inside, and it's fouled off to the left side. Ends up in the stands over there. Someone got a souvenir to take home. Game 3 between Windy City and Evansville. This is a rubber match. Something the Otters have struggled a little bit more in. 1 and 2 in rubber games so far this year. 0-1 works inside again, and it's by the sliding Mattis, second baseman, out to center field, and it's a 1-out base hit for Dan Robinson. That'll bring up the hottest hitter for Windy City. When he's playing well, this team is really hard to stop. That's the third baseman, Daryl Myers. He had the game-winning 2-run home run in our middle game. That was the big difference maker. Other than that 2-run home run in our first game this afternoon, he had a couple of strikeouts. Still waiting on the first pitch to Myers. On the way, misses to the low outside corner. One down, one on in the top half of the first inning. A reminder, this is just a 7-inning game. As part 2 of our doubleheader. The 1-0 towards Myers. Stays low. And behind in the count even further now is Ryan O'Reilly. 2-0 the count towards Daryl Myers. With 1 out here. That one just catches the high outside corner. That's a really close pitch. O'Reilly got lucky. That one got called. So 2-1 the count. Kevin Furman behind the plate in this final game. Mike O'Leary and Nicholas Saxon running things out there in the infield. The 2-1 to Myers. That one stays low, and O'Reilly struggling to locate early in this game. So far, O'Reilly has just managed to find strikes in 6 of the 10 pitches thus far. Here comes the 3-1 to Myers. That one's right down the heart for a full count now. Runner on first is Dan Robinson. He's got a mediocre lead over there. O'Reilly really taking his time in between pitches. Here comes the 3-2. This one sent out towards left field. Baez hauls it in for the out. A long throw to first. Is it in time? It is! What a double play from Jeffrey Baez in left field. Gunning down Robinson. Baez with a great scoop. And that's how the top of the first ends. Great work from the Evansville defense. Gets the Otters faithful on their feet. We head to the bottom half of the first inning. Coming up next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Bottom of the first inning, let's introduce you to the starting man for Windy City, Brian Ketchie, who enters the game 1-1 with a 3.28 ERA in his 4 games thus far. Does not give away free passes, so you're going to really have to earn every piece of offense you get against him. Pitcher-catcher battery for Windy City is Ketchie on the mound, Isaacson behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery sponsored by our friends at the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Evan the Otter sent you. So the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis, will get the Otters started here in the first inning. He'll be followed by the familiar faces of Zach Biermann and J.R. Davis to lead off this game. First offering for Mattis. Works a bit high for ball 1. Gary Mattis took a long path to get where he is today. On the 1-0, stays high for ball 2. See, Mattis started off in Conference USA play playing for Florida Atlantic. Only lasted there a year. Ended up transferring to Kansas State and redshirted there for the Wildcats for a year as a pitch goes inside for ball 3. Mattis never played a game for Kansas State. He ended up transferring to NAIA school Tennessee Wesleyan, where he finished out his collegiate career before signing his first professional deal to play in Evansville last year. The 3-0 stays up high, and Mattis is headed to first. Well, I warned you that you weren't going to get free passes from Ketchie that often. Not only has there been a free pass just like that, but now there's a big risk that Mattis starts stealing some bases. Also, found out a unique little piece about what you just saw there on your screen. You saw the catcher go out and the umpire follow him out there to the mound. I found out yesterday from Tim Holgrafer, who's up here in the box helping to run some of the stat stuff, that if the catcher tells the umpire that he's going up to just refresh signs with his pitcher, as the first pitch to Biermann falls into the high outside corner for strike 1, if the catcher tells the home plate umpire, I'm just going to go refresh signs with my pitcher, and of course, that's why the umpire goes out and listens in. If that's really all that they're changing, it doesn't count as a mound visit for the catcher. 0-1, and they go check on Mattis. Smart. If you didn't know, Mattis actually kicked off today as the league leader in stolen bases with 15. He has a huge lead over there at first. 0-1 to Biermann. There goes Mattis. Biermann towards right field. The right fielder doesn't know where it's at. Richards out there in right, and it's gone. Zach Biermann with a 2-run home run. And Evansville leads this game early. The team leader in home runs has hit number 7 of the season. And just like that, the Otters have a lead. That ball has been exterminated by McMahon Exterminating. Remember, who can help with all of your pest control needs? McMahon can. Picture perfect start to this game for the Otters. They lead by 2 off the bat of Biermann. It'll bring up the third baseman, J.R. Davis. In our first game, Davis went 0 for 3. Watches the first one go by for a called strike 1. Otters in their all-white home jerseys with blue script Otters on the front, blue letters on the back. Windy City in their all-gray road jerseys with script Windy City on the front, blue numbers on the back. Davis pops one up behind home plate. It'll end up getting onto the roof of Bosse Field here for the second strike of the at-bat. Now he's got to be defensive in there. Look around the defensive alignment for the Thunderbolts. Robinson, Robertson, and Richards across the outfield. Myers, Martinez, Boone, and Layer across the infield. Isaacson behind home plate. Davis steps in, needs to work on his defensive at-bats here. On the 0-2, he skies one out towards center. Robertson retreating back towards it and hauls it in for the first out of the inning. So now the catcher, Dakota Phillips, on his way to the box. Phillips was able to pick up a hit in our first game that extended his games with hits in a row to 2. Not quite a streak, needs one more. He had a 12-game hit streak alive before failing to recover a hit in the final 2 games of the Gateway Series. First offering for Phillips, he lets it go by for a called strike 1. He thought about going around on it. Let it be. So 0-1 now the count to the catcher Phillips. Quickly the pitch on his way. Hefty swing on a pitch that just broke away from him. Dove towards the dirt on that low outside corner, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Here comes the 0-2. That hits Phillips on the back. Probably doesn't feel the greatest. So he'll head to first with a hit by pitch and bring up Jeffrey Baez. Got you some stats on that home run from Zach Biermann. Its exit velocity was 99 miles an hour, traveled 378 feet to right field. So Jeffrey Baez, who is still looking for an opportunity to really break open his season, looking at an opportunity in the bottom of the first with 1 on and 1 out. Hefty swing, but he was out in front of it a bit for strike 1. The off speed got him a little bit there. Don't forget that the Otters remain in town for 3 more this weekend against the Gateway Grizzlies. First time we'll see the Grizzlies here at home this season. I'd love to see out here at Bosse Field. 0-1 to Baez. Again, swings at a pitch that just kept working away from him, and he was ahead of it as well. 0-2 the count. There you are, right there. Otters 3 against Gateway. 6:30 starts on Friday and Saturday. A 5:05 start on Sunday. Then they're off to the Windy City to face Schaumburg. The 0-2 to Jeffrey Baez. Sends one to the right side, but it is well foul. So Baez will have to readjust and get himself ready for an 0-2 count yet again. Baez digs in with 1 out and 1 on. Phillips with a very small lead over at first. Here comes the 0-2. That one works inside and goes off the knob of the bat for another foul ball. And we will stay simple and stay even at an 0-2 count. Ketchy ready for an 0-2. Pitch on the way. Baez to the left side. It's through for a base hit. And the big first inning for the Otters continues. Still just 1 out, and now there's runners on first and second for the Otters, bringing up the right fielder Elijah McNamee. Big hit Mac, as they called him back at Mississippi State. Had a hit in our last game, a single in the 7th, but had a big double in the first game of the series yesterday afternoon. Not at all the way Brian Ketchy imagined this game starting off. Opening pitch, it's sent towards the left side. Tough hop for the third baseman. The second for one to first. In time. And a double play ends the inning, but not before the Otters take a lead off a 2-run slam from the first baseman, Zach Biermann. We head to the second inning with the Otters leading this one 2-0. Ready for the top of the second inning. Otters have a lead in this one. Let's take a look through the Seal Corp Frontier League standings. As you can see there, Evansville does have a chance to be tied for the league or for the Western Conference lead with a win and a Washington loss. Windy City is a half game behind them at 12-10. Basically, the winner of this game gets to have the higher possession up there, as Windy City could jump Evansville with a win, and Gateway not too far behind. This is a really packed West Division. Going to be a lot of fun all season long. Over there on the East Division, of course, Quebec leading the way. Ottawa a couple games behind them, but then everybody else is just a whole handful of games behind all the way down. We'll keep you updated with the Seal Corp Frontier League standings all season long. Our thanks to our friends at Seal Corp for bringing those to you. So ready in the top of the second inning will be the 4, 5, 6 hitters of Boone, Mercer, and Isaacson. Jake Boone, the second baseman for Windy City, was 1 for 2 in last game with a single strikeout and a walk. His first offering in this game glances outside for ball 1. O'Reilly really needs to find a way to stay consistent up there on the mound. Another ball. Now he's down in the count 2-0. Two balls, no strikes. Pitch on the way, and that one's driven out into left center field for a base hit. Leadoff single for Jake Boone. And again, Windy City has gotten a base runner on. But their last one on came up a bit empty-handed after a base running error that allowed Jeffrey Baez to gun him down back at first. So stepping back in is Jace Mercer. In our opening game, Mercer was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a flyout. First, they're going to go check over on Boone at first. He's back in time, however. Here comes the opening offering to Jace Mercer. Right across the heart of the plate for a called strike 1. Mercer was asking if that was a bit inside. The home plate umpire, Kevin Furman, said no, it was not. The 0-1 to Jace Mercer. Ryan O'Reilly has his pitch call ready to go. A glance towards first, and he's going to head back over there. Back in time once again is Jake Boone. For all wondering, Boone does have 5 stolen bases on the year. The next pitch is high outside. Edens counted a ball and a strike. Boone is actually 5 of 8 on the stolen base paths so far this season. That's why they're a bit worried about him over there at first. A glance over to first for O'Reilly, and he's got his pitch call ready to go. A 1-1. Chopped foul back towards the netting on the third base side. And O'Reilly's finally in a position to potentially pick up another strikeout. Mercer kind of taking his time to get back into the box. In there now. Very small lead now for Jake Boone over there at first. And here comes the 1-2. That bounces in there for ball 2, evening the count at 2-2. Phillips sends one down to first, but back in time once again is Jake Boone. If nothing else, they're just making sure that Jake Boone has to have a dirty jersey that has to get washed. Because none of these throws have really been challenging other than to keep him close over there at first. The 2-2 to Mercer. That one works high and away, and it's now a full count. Well, for Ryan O'Reilly, no start was worse than the one at Trois-Rivières, giving up 5 runs on 5 hits and just 3 1/3 innings of work. He did get the win, or sorry, the team got the win in the end. He didn't get a result, but he only lasted 38 pitches in the game and needed a comeback effort for Trois-Rivières. Already trying to make this one a little bit more of a long-lasting effort, but he's really had to throw a lot of pitches as Mercer fouls another one off, this one to the left side. Join us tomorrow night as the Deaconess Healthy Nights and 80s Nights are celebrated here at historic Bosse Field. The Otters are going to get their first look at the Gateway Grizzlies here at home this season. They faced the Grizzlies last weekend, won 2 out of 3. The 3-2 from Mercer. Mercer thinks about going, and it's a called strike 3. He cannot believe it. He mentions a couple of thoughts on it on his walk away from the box, and it's the second German American Bank strikeout of the game for Ryan O'Reilly. Both of them are strikeouts on called strike 3s. It'll bring up the catcher, Peyton Isaacson. While he did not play in our first game of our doubleheader, he did play in yesterday's game, picked up an RBI single in the first inning, then was hitless in his last 3 chances. First offering for Isaacson in this game. Stays high and outside, but catches the tip of the corner for strike 1. Very small lead over there at first now for Jake Boone, obviously not wanting to take too big a risk. 0-1 to Isaacson. He launches one towards center field. Gordon retreats a little bit and heads to his right side, hauls it in for the second out of the inning. 2 down and 1 on brings up the center fielder Peyton Robertson. Robertson 2 for 3 in our first game with a pair of singles. He had the only 2-hit performance for Windy City in that game. Neither of them really meant too much in the grand scheme of things, however, as he was left stranded both times. Robertson is the second shortest player on the Thunderbolts team. Bryn Martinez, the only one shorter at 5'8". A chopping ball to the left side gets past J.R. Davis, or Actually doesn't, but it's foul regardless. Davis had a nice little snag there with the hand and just makes life a little simpler to get to the next pitch, as Isaacson's now looking at an 0-1. Biermann's keeping the runner close at first, as the 0-1 heads home to Isaacson. Bounces in there for ball one. The runner heading towards second. The throw out. Perfect throw. Got him. What a throw from Dakota Phillips. Set it right there in the glove of Mattis for the third out of the inning. Another poor base running error has the T-Bolts down with just 3 outs and then 3 at-bats, really, as Robertson is going to have to be the next one up in the next inning. After 1.5 innings, Evansville is still leading this one 2-0. Catching the end of that Played Again Sports replay there, as Baez had gunned down the runner in the first inning back at first for the double play. Now another poor base running error from Windy City results in a caught stealing by Jake Boone. So they still have only had 6 up, 6 down technically. Otters return to the plate here in the bottom half of the second. They'll start off with the center fielder Miles Gordon, who once again had a 2-hit outing in our first game. Reached all 3 times, however, as he reached on the fielder's choice in the 7th inning. Of course, the 2 outs, or the 2 base hits game, doesn't feel as good when your team doesn't get the win. Gordon, Sinsley, Armstrong due up in the half inning for the Otters. Here comes the first pitch for Gordon. Ooh, curveball stays way up high, and Gordon has to duck underneath it. Could be a late evening here from historic Bosse Field. Just here in the 2nd inning of our 2nd game of the doubleheader. Just 7 innings in this game, however. 1-0 for Gordon. Tries to work towards the outside edge and goes just a bit too far. 2-0 the count now. Another left-handed starter for Windy City in this game in the form of Brian Ketchy. Otters usually have had some struggles with left-handed pitchers. Gordon watches one go high and outside. 3-0 the count now to him. Little weight on the mound there for Ketchy. And it sends home the 3-0. That one works way outside. It's a 4-pitch walk to lead off the inning for Miles Gordon. It's a Deerhead Sidewalk Cafe and Bar. 2nd of the game for the Otters. So with no outs and a runner on, the designated hitter Steven Sinsley heads in. Had one option in our first game as he came in to pinch hit for Andy Armstrong, struck out to end the game. Other than that, that was his first plate appearance since the final game of the Lake Erie series all the way back on last week on Thursday. First offering to Sinsley. Curveball stays up high, ball 1. Sinsley was added to the COVID IL list on Saturday of last week. Put in the the mandatory league time on that list. Was good to go and is now back in the lineup tonight. Good to see he's feeling much better and ready to go. The 1-0 for Sinsley. Again, working too far to the outside is catchy. He has struggled to find the zone. 2-0 the count towards Steven Sinsley. Decent lead for Miles Gordon there at first. And he's going to head back and be back safely as they check him over there. Of course, not a huge stealing threat is Miles Gordon, like I mentioned in that last game as well. 4 of 6 on the year, but he usually is not jumping at the opportunity to steal bases. The 2-0. This one skied out by Sinsley towards center field. Robertson thinks he's underneath it and hauls it in for the first out of the inning. Gordon will return to first. And now the shortstop, Andy Armstrong, makes his way to the plate. Armstrong has struggled a little bit, but managed to pick up an RBI on a fielder's choice in our first game. Also reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th, then was pinch hit for there before the end of the game. Former Oregon State Beaver. Andy Armstrong ready for the first pitch of this at bat, and they've caught Miles Gordon between first and second. Back and forth they go, and he'll be tagged out there on his way back to first. And just like that, the Otters' leadoff man is suddenly removed from play, and now Armstrong's looking at a 2-out approach. Not at all ideal for the Otters. Here comes the pitch to Armstrong. Brought into the zone for a called strike 1. Trying to slow the pitch down a little was catchy. Got him on the off speed. The 0-1. Armstrong bounces it towards the left side. Charging it is Martinez to first in time. And that's how the second inning ends. Started off hot for the Otters. Poor base running results in a 3-up, 3-down basically inning. And we will head to the third. Otters still lead by 2 in this one on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Before we start the third inning, we'll remind you that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. And leading off the third inning for Windy City will be the 7-8-9 hitters in Peyton Robertson, Bryn Martinez, and Jose Lyer. Ryan O'Reilly taking his time on the mound before the first pitch here of this inning. On the way. Works to the high inside corner for a called strike one. Swinging strike two, just about swinging out of the shoes there, was Peyton Robertson, quickly down 0-2 in the count. Chance for O'Reilly to pick up a big strikeout here. On the way, and that one stays a bit outside. 1-2 the count. O'Reilly is just trying to keep things going well. The 1-2 just catches the outside edge for a called strike three. The third German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Ryan O'Reilly. All three of them on called strike threes. That'll bring up the shortest member of the Windy City squad, the shortstop Bryn Martinez. He was tossed from yesterday afternoon's game in the top of the sixth inning, arguing after a swinging strike three. The first chance for him stays high, ball one. One-0 the count for Bryn Martinez. That one falls into the zone at the last second. Nice pitch there from O'Reilly. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Beautiful night at the ballpark. Lots of people here as well. Glad you're here. The 1-1 for Martinez. Another pitch that looks like it's going to fall out of the zone, but just catches the bottom edge. 1-2 the count now to Bren Martinez. Man, if you're Ryan O'Reilly, throw that same pitch again. He is locked up every time. Why not keep attacking him with it? The 1-2. Swinging strike three for Martinez. It's back-to-back strikeouts to start off the third inning for Ryan O'Reilly. 4 German-American Bank strikeouts in the game thus far for Ryan O'Reilly. With that, we head to the 9-hole hitter of the Windy City lineup, the first baseman, Jose Layer. Layer with a open stance. Takes the first pitch on the inside edge for a called strike one. O'Reilly shifts back and forth between his feet and sends home the next pitch. High bouncer towards Davis at third. Long throw to first. A beautiful scoop from Zach Biermann. Make it 2 on the game. And the Otters get out of the top of the third inning, 1-2-3. We head to the bottom half of the third right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And it's time for the bottom half of the third inning Otters are still leading this one by a pair of runs, both of them via the two-run home run from Zach Biermann in the bottom half of the first inning. And so far, that is the decider in this one. Due up for the Otters to start this bottom half of the third inning is back to the top of the order in Gary Mattis, Zach Biermann, and J.R. Davis. Of course, starting off with the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis. Mattis reached on a walk his first time up, then came around to score on that Biermann home run. First offering to Mattis in this at bat, and he swings hard through it for a strike one. Way out in front of that off-speed pitch was sitting fastball. The 0-1 to Mattis. Off speed, just glances into the zone and catches him staring, and he's quickly down 0-2 in the count. 68 mile an hour on that off speed. The 0-2, this one's driven out towards left, back towards the wall, and it's bouncing into the wall. Mattis off towards second. It's a stand-up double to lead off the third inning for Gary Mattis. Big smile from him. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Zach Biermann. Need I remind you, his first time up, had a solo home run over the right field wall, traveled 378 feet. And that's the difference maker in this game thus far. Biermann's got a shot for some more RBIs here. He's already got 17 on the year. He is creeping towards the league leaders in RBIs. He is now tied for fourth in the league in home runs with 7. First pitch to Biermann. Half swings at one. Did he go? No, he did not. Able to check it in time. So 1-0 the count on a pitch that stayed high and outside. One 0 the count for the first baseman, Biermann. Mattis out there on second base. No outs. The 1-0. Biermann gets way underneath this one, and since it's a shallow right field, the first baseman Layer thinks he's underneath it, and he is for out number 1. So a foul out for Biermann brings up the third baseman, J.R. Davis. He flew out to center in his first time in this game. And in our game earlier today, 0 for 3. Davis looking to hop back on the hitting side of things. Of course, like I mentioned, hitless in our last game. Hitless in the opening game of the series. Able to snag a hit in a couple of the games at Gateway. Mattis breaking towards third. The throw out there. Not in time. It's another stolen base for the Frontier League leader in stolen bases. He's now got 16 on the season. It doesn't seem like anybody can stop Gary Mattis. 0-1 for J.R. Davis. All he needs is a sac fly now to bring in another run. Just about anything would bring him in. An 0-1 to J.R. Davis. Sent to the left side, through for an RBI base hit. And the Otters lead by 3. Great time for J.R. Davis to pick up his first base hit in a while. And it's enough to bring in a run for the Otters. The lead hits 3. Mattis scores from third. Davis is now on first with just 1 out as the catcher Dakota Phillips makes his way to the plate. First at bat in this game negated due to a hit by pitch. The first pitch to Dakota Phillips from the lefty Ketchy. On its way now. Phillips sends it towards right field. Say goodbye. That one is gone. A 2-run home run for Dakota Phillips, and the lead hits 5 for the Otters. Cue the light show. Touch all 4, big man. Phillips rounds them all. And that is the 5th home run of the season for Dakota Phillips. This one's good for 2 runs. And still, with just 1 out, Jeffrey Baez heads to the plate. Talk about people who need to break free from a little bit of a slump. Baez needs one as well. He had a single there in the first inning, but was part of the double play. Ooh, hefty swing on that. He wanted to add a home run of his own. Ends up swinging through strike 1. Ketchy taking his time up there on the mound. Now sends home the 0-1. Baez sends it foul over the right field wall. Sorry, over the right field seating area. No balls, 2 strikes to the big man, Jeffrey Baez. Again, sends one foul over the seating area. Wanted to see Baez become more and more of a defensive hitter, and he has been doing that well, drawing a few extra walks. But he has just not been super consistent with his hitting, as his average still sits in the low 200s. 0-2 to Baez. High and inside, swinging strike 3 for him. And he heads back to the dugout. It's the first strikeout of the game for Brian Ketchy. Now with 2 outs, the right fielder Elijah McNamee heads to the plate. McNamee grounded into a double play his first time up in this game. He and Baez both went trotting back to the dugout from it. First pitch he sees, sends it out towards the alleyway in right center. Bounces off the wall. He's heading towards second. Is he going to dig for 3? He is. Heading towards third is McNamee. Save. A triple for Big Hit Mac. And everyone's getting involved in game 2 of the doubleheader. As soon as I saw his glance out towards the wall as he was approaching second, I knew it was over then. You could see him kind of hit it into full gear as he was halfway between first and second. Gunned it towards third and just barely beat the throw in. Throw ended up getting past the third baseman anyway. Don't think it would have got him regardless, though. So with 2 outs, Miles Gordon heads back to the plate. He walked in the second inning, but then was caught between first and second on the rundown. First offering to Miles Gordon. That one falls into the outside edge of the zone for a called strike 1. Gordon knew it right away. A little bit of a wait before we get the next pitch. Brian Ketchy is really trying to slow this game down a little bit to give himself a chance to get a couple more seconds of momentum. The 0-1 to Gordon. He sends one towards right field. Richards back towards the wall. Gone! Another home run for the Otters. Cue the light show again. Miles Gordon with a 2-run home run that has given the Otters a 7-run lead now. Turning 1 hit into 2 hits, into 3 hits, into 4 hits, into 5 hits. They just keep it going. And a meeting at the mound needed for Windy City. They've got no one warming up out there. Due up next is the designated hitter, Steven Sinsley. Let's walk you through this third inning thus far. Started off with a leadoff double from Gary Mattis. He stole third. Zach Biermann had a foul out to the first base side. J.R. Davis brought home Mattis with an RBI single. Then Dakota Phillips brought home himself and Davis on a 2-run home run. Baez struck out on the very next at-bat before Elijah McNamee legged his way out for a triple. That was followed by a 2-run home run of Miles Gordon's for the 5th run of the inning, and the Otters lead by 7 in the third. They needed an offensive explosion in this whole series, and they finally get it in Game 3. So Steven Sinsley having his first start since last Thursday. 0 for 1 so far in this game. Watches the first pitch go outside for ball 1. Sinsley flew out to center his first time and really didn't get a great bit of contact underneath it. So looking for a little bit more success in this at-bat. A 1-0 just catches the high outside corner on the 2-seamer, I believe that was. A nice looking pitch there from Brian Ketchy. Ketchy throws a 4-seam, a 2-seam, a changeup, and a curve. The 1-1, this one sent towards right field, down for a base hit into the wall. Takes a weird hop, and there goes Sinsley towards second. He'll slide in, didn't even need to, and it's a 2-out double for the DH, Steven Sinsley. 8 base hits for the Otters in this game. In fact, everyone but Andy Armstrong has one now. And who's due up next for the Otters? Andy Armstrong. He could grab the 9th hit of the game and would make it so that every Otter that started this game picks up a hit. And we're only in the 3rd inning. Glad you're staying up late with the Otters on a Thursday night in Game 2 of our doubleheader. The first pitch for Andy Armstrong on the way. Stays high and a bit outside for ball 1. Perfect amount of momentum for the Otters to start to carry into a 3-game set against Gateway. Taking a quick time is Andy Armstrong. He steps 1 foot out, readies himself, and digs back in. Pretty even stance for him in the box. Steven Sinsley out there on second. 2 outs for the Otters in the bottom of the 3rd. They've already scored 5 this half inning. The 1-0 to Armstrong. Takes it way inside. Good stop from Isaacson to keep it in front of him. But the count goes to 2-0. Two balls, no strikes to Andy Armstrong, the shortstop for the Otters. The 2-0, he gets way underneath this one, puts it right in the infield. Everyone's coming in to try to make a play on it, and it's the second baseman, Boone, who brings it in finally for the 3rd out of the inning. But all 9 guys get a try in that 3rd inning, and the Otters now lead 7-0 after an offensive explosion. We head to the 4th. Otters up 7. Well, one way to make your pitcher's life easier is to give him run support, and the Otters have done just that. 7-0 lead entering the fourth inning. Life's got to be a little bit easier for Ryan O'Reilly up there on the mound now. Somehow, he has only faced the 9 batters thus far due to a couple of base running errors. And the final warm-up pitch has been tossed, and we're ready to go in the top of the fourth inning. Due up for Windy City are the 1-2-3 hitters of Jace Richards, Dan Robinson, and Daryl Myers. Jace Richards started off this game with a called strike 3 strikeout, the first of the game for Ryan O'Reilly. In our earlier game, he had a solo home run in the fourth. That tied the game before 2 batters later, Daryl Myers gave the win to the T-Bolts. First pitch that Richard sees, he pops out to the left side. Davis chasing over there, and he brings it in. No, it ends up falling just next to him. We have a supporting beam right in between me and that, so I couldn't quite tell. So Richards is looking at an 0-1 count. Richards takes his time to get back into the box. And here comes the 0-1. Showing bunt for a second was Richardson. Pulls away, and it's ball 1. So the count evens up at a ball and a strike. The 1-1 to Richards. Lets it go by for a called strike 2. So 1-2 the count with no outs here in the top half of the fourth inning. A little bit of a wait before the 1-2. Pitch on the way. Richards sends it out towards left field. Baez going back towards the warning track. Doesn't have to quite go back that far for out number 1. That'll bring up the left fielder, Dan Robinson. Robinson picked up the first base hit of the game, but got caught retreating back to first after the fly out from Daryl Myers. Jeffrey Baez gunned him down all the way back to first. And it was a very nice scoop move from Zach Biermann as well that ended the first inning hopes for Windy City. First offering to Robinson. Hangs a bit low and maybe outside as well for ball 1. That one does catch the zone, as the off speed just barely graced the inside edge. A little bit of a wait for the 1-1 from Ryan O'Reilly. Kicks and delivers. That one catches the outside edge. And disagreeing with the call right afterwards is Dan Robinson. But regardless, he's got to look at a 1-2 count now. Here comes the 1-2. Robinson pushes it to the left side, but foul. So Ryan O'Reilly, open stance up there on the mound, shuffles his weight back and forth a couple times. And now tosses a 1-2. Oh, man. The fastball just misses on the high outside corner. The count goes to 2-2. So here comes the 2-2 to Robinson. Sent back into the netting. And Robinson will live to see another pitch. Good 2-strike approach from him. taking his time before getting back into the box. Now looking at a 2-2. O'Reilly misses to the outside, and the count goes to full. Just one out here in the top of the fourth inning. O'Reilly trying to push through a couple more innings now that he's gotten some run support from his Otters bats. The full count's pitch. And a late swing from Robinson just sends it foul to the left side and keeps himself alive. Good defensive approach for him. Full count for Dan Robinson. Ryan O'Reilly's trying to win the battle. Payoff pitch on the way. Since bouncing towards the left side, Davis makes the play in foul territory, however. And Robinson will face at least one more pitch. Ended up being a beautiful night in Evansville. We started out in the low 80s and a little bit humid this afternoon and evening. Now that the sun's gone down, we're here in the low 70s, a little bit of a breeze. And the Otters are up. So the Evansville faithful couldn't really wish for much more here. Full count pitch to Dan Robinson with one out. He takes an extra bit of time adjusting his ankle guard. And with it, Kevin Furman will take a chance to clean off home plate. Robinson digs back in, and he's ready for a third attempt at the payoff pitch. It's on the way from O'Reilly. Again, skied high and foul. So we'll all have to wait on a fourth separate 3-2 pitch. O'Reilly with a big nod. He must like the call. The 3-2 to Robinson. Fastball outside is ball 4. Finally, it's Dan Robinson who wins the battle. And with one on and one out, the third baseman, Daryl Myers, makes his way to the plate. He had the 2-run home run in our first game that ended up being the game winner. So far in this one, though, just a fly out to Baez and left. Long wait before the opening pitch to Myers. Riley has what he likes. A quick glance over towards first. And here comes the opening pitch towards Myers. Bounces in there. I think it actually hit the batter there. No, the ball got past Phillips, ended up in the dugout of Windy City, and because of it, it was out of play, so Robinson only got one extra base. So now a 1-0 count for Myers with one out, but there's now a runner at second instead of first. So the easy double play is taken away now. The 1-0 to Myers. Low, ball 2. Wild pitch is how Robinson will get to second. Here in the next couple of pitches and at-bats, we'll walk you through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. Of course, New Jersey defeats Lake Erie earlier this evening in a completion of a suspended game from last night. Windy City defeated Evansville 3-1 in Game 1 of our doubleheader. Empire State and Quebec rescheduled for July 12th, as well as Ottawa and Trois-Rivières. Both of them struggling with some rain up in Canada. Washington does get a 10-9 win over Tri-City, so the Wild Things will retain their lead atop the West Division. Elsewhere around the league, New Jersey leading Lake Erie 3-2 in game 2 of their evening. They're in the bottom of the 7th. Sussex County has gotten an 11-5 win over New York. Gateway leading Schaumburg 14-5 in the 9th inning. So it looks like if the Otters could win this one, they'd at least jump, or at least keep themselves ahead of Schaumburg. They're in the West Division. As a 2-0 catches the outside edge of the zone, going to 2-1 on Myers. Joliet defeats Florence 6-4. And then our game is, other than the New Jersey Lake Erie game that's in the 7th and the Grizzlies Boomers game in the 9th, our game is the final one in the Frontier League slate this evening. A 2-1 to Myers. He sends it foul to the left side, and the count's now at 2-2. Don't forget that the stars of the Frontier League are converging on Washington, Pennsylvania this summer for the 2022 Frontier League All-Star Game, presented by the Curry Firm. It'll take place on Wednesday, July 20th. Catch the best of the Frontier League and be part of all of the All-Star Week festivities by going to WashingtonWildThings.com. They've got all the information you can need. You can also purchase your tickets there. 2-2 the count to Daryl Myers. Pitch from O'Reilly. Sent on a line off the glove of Armstrong at short, and there'll be runners on the corners with 1 out. Armstrong just barely missed that one. Him and Mattis have a quick chat out there near second base, and O'Reilly will have to try to work himself out of a 2-on, 1-out situation. Myers on first, Robinson on third, with the second baseman Jake Boone making his way to the plate. He had a single to lead off the second inning, but was caught stealing to end the inning. First pitch of the at-bat from Ryan O'Reilly. On the way, and it's a swinging strike one on a pitch that bounced in there. Broke into the dirt. No balls, 1 strike for Jake Boone. A glance over towards first for Ryan O'Reilly, and he's ready to go on the 0-1. Boone lets it go by for ball 1 on the outside. Three more home games in the homestand for the Otters. They'll play Gateway this weekend before heading to Schaumburg for a quick 2-game mini-series next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. 1-1 for Boone. Sends one, a hot shot to the left side. Watch out, teammate. Just about caught his runner on third, Robinson. With the count now at 1-2 for Jake Boone. Even though you've got the 7-run lead, if you're Ryan O'Reilly, you've got to be thinking, I need this guy out right here. Don't worry about the 2 on base right now. Find a way to get Jake Boone out. Even if it's an infield out of some kind where you can only get 1 out and let a run score, make sure you at least get 1 out. The 1-2 to Boone, it's outside, and the count evens up at 2-2. Trying to overthrow that fastball. Two-two, the count to Jake Boone, the second baseman this evening for Windy City. Ryan O'Reilly sends it home, and it's chopped back into the netting. So the count remains even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night is Deaconess Healthy Night and 80s Nights at the ballpark as the Otters and Grizzlies face off in game 1 of their series. 6:35 first pitch. Gates open at 5:30. Same time, same place on Saturday as the Otters and Grizzlies face off at 6:35 for Princess Night on Saturday night. The 2-2 to Boone. Pushes it out towards the right side. McNamee comes in and makes the catch for out number 1. A long throw towards home is not in time, and it's a sacrifice fly RBI for Jake Boone to get the T-Bolts on the board. So now Jace Mercer heads to the plate with just a runner on first and 2 outs. Good on O'Reilly to find a way to at least get the out. They toss over to third just to make sure that the runner Robinson did not leave early. Why not go check it? First pitch to Jace Mercer in the at-bat. Mercer is 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking so far in this game. Pitch on the way to him. Just misses on the high outside corner. Ooh, that is a nice pitch. 89 mile an hour, just creep to the outside edge. So now the count is 1-0 towards Jace Mercer. Mercer sends it out towards right center field. Gordon's chasing it. It's off the wall. Rounding third's going to be Daryl Myers. A play at the plate is not in time. An RBI double from Jace Mercer. Myers went plugging around the bases to make it home. And it's back-to-back RBIs for Windy City. They still trail 7-2, however. And with that, an arm will start to warm for the Otters. It's upsetting for O'Reilly. In 4 games he's pitched so far this year, he has yet to record a quality start. A lot of the time it's because his pitch count is just working up so high so quick. The first pitch to Peyton Isaacson is skied high and foul to the left side. Now I believe it is actually Tyler Spring starting to warm up for the Otters. If he were to enter this game, it would be his first appearance of the year. The 0-1 to Peyton Isaacson. Stays high, evens the count of a ball and a strike. Out there on second is Jace Mercer. It is indeed Tyler Spring warming up for the Otters. A 1-1 is lifted high towards center field. Gordon coming in to make the catch, and he will for out number 3, but not before 2 runs score for Windy City. They bring this back to a 5-run game as we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning here from beautiful Evansville, Indiana. And as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning, a pitching change needed for Windy City. They will ask Cal Juraskovich to head in out of the bullpen for him. On the season, Juraskovich has appeared in 2 games thus far, allowed 1 run on 3 hits in 2 innings of work. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher catcher battery. On the mound, Juraskovich, Isaacson behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. So for the second straight inning, leading off the half inning will be the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis. 1 for 1 in the game with a double and a walk. He's come around to score both times. Mattis even added to his stolen base total, a total that leads the entire league. Mattis ready to dig back in as his Otters have a 5-run lead entering the bottom half of the fourth inning. Long wait for Juraskovich. Pitch on the way. Hefty swing by Mattis as the lefty just beat him with speed, 91 mile an hour. Mattis digs back in. Down in the count 0-1. Juraskovich again fires one quick, and it's fouled back into the netting by Mattis. Long wait for Juraskovich, trying to start off this fourth inning with an out against Gary Mattis. Mattis thinks about going. Did he go? No, he did not, and he lives to see another pitch. 1-2 the count. Juraskovich is pitching out of the stretch here with a little bit of added step, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Gary Mattis to kick off the fourth inning. And starting off his day with a strikeout is Cal Juraskovich. So now the first baseman, Zach Biermann, makes his way to the plate. Fouled out in the third inning, had a 2-run home run in the first. That was going to be the game-winning run at the time, but now the game-winning RBI belongs to J.R. Davis in the third. Biermann watches it go by for a called strike 1 in the high outside corner. 1 out, no one on, and the defense shifted a bit to the right. Outfield is playing pretty much straight up. 0-1 to Biermann. Gets away from the catcher as the count evens up at a ball and a strike. The lefty Biermann digs back into the box, already with a home run in this game. RBI single that won the game yesterday. A 1-1. Stays way up high, ball 2. Biermann ahead in the counts. Biermann has exploded on the scene. Quite possibly the most dangerous hitter on this team. Might even be one of the most dangerous hitters in the entire Frontier League. 329 average entering today's games. Getting on base 40% of the time as well, and now has 7 home runs. That's good for 4th in the Frontier League. He also has a team leading 18 RBI. The 2-2, Biermann pushes it towards the left side. It does get foul, however, and he'll live to see another pitch. Long wait on the bump from Juraskovich. Really making sure he's picking out his 2-strike pitch as well. The 2-2. Again, Biermann pushes it foul to the left side. Biermann, one of the few individuals on this Otters team that not only wears the pants all the way down to the ankle, it doesn't show any sock or anything, also has no pads on, no real elbow pad or ankle guard as he takes the ball up high to go to a full count. You can see he has a little bit of a wrap on his elbow, but it's not one of those hard pads. It's more of a softer one. Just lessens the blow a little bit. The full count pitch to Biermann. Swinging strike 3. He sits down on strikes for the first time today, and it's back-to-back strikeouts from Cal Juraskovich. Absolutely doing his job. So now the 1-for-2 third baseman J.R. Davis makes his way to the plate. Had an RBI single in the third. Right now, that RBI is standing up as the game-winning RBI if Windy City was then able to score once again. Juraskovich has his call. Sends home the first pitch. Davis skies it high, but sends it foul to the right side. It'll end up on top of the roofing here at Bosse Field. Big road trip on the horizon for the Otters. Of course, they finished this week series with a 3-game set against Gateway this weekend. Head to Schaumburg next week for a mini-series on Tuesday and Wednesday. 0-1 to Davis, inside, ball 1. Evens the count at 1-1. After that mini-series at Schaumburg Tuesday and Wednesday next week, the Otters head right back here to play a 3-game set against Lake Erie next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, before hitting the road for a full week to face Florence Tuesday through Thursday, Lake Erie Friday through Sunday, before heading back home to conclude the month of June. Ball is sent high and popped up behind home plate, but it's going to get on top of the seating area here at Bosse Field. So remaining at a 1-2 count is J.R. Davis, doing well to stay defensive there at the plate. Thank you for tuning in to the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And we want to thank you for sticking with us this week as we've had a few technical difficulties here and there with some of our broadcasts. Hit hard to the right side, through for a base hit. It's a 2-hit effort for J.R. Davis. That comes with 2 outs and no one on in the 4th inning. So with it, the cleanup hitter, catcher Dakota Phillips, makes his way to the plate. 1-for-1 with a 2-run home run in the 3rd, hit by a pitch in the 1st. His 2-run home run in the 3rd came right after a J.R. Davis single. What do you know? This at-bat comes right after a J.R. Davis single. Be huge for him to pick up another one here. Juraskovich has his sign, sends home the first pitch to Phillips. It's low and outside for ball 1. Davis slowly walks back over to first. At this point in the game, don't really expect him to be stealing. The 1-0. This one is sent screaming towards the left side foul. Time is going to have to be called as a ball from the bullpen out and left ends up in the field of play. Bullpen catcher for Windy City snagged that one, and we're ready to keep playing. 1-1 the count to Dakota Phillips, who is catching in this game. Trying to have another productive at-bat in this game. The 1-1. Ooh, right where he usually likes it, but it stays a bit high, so he leaves it be for ball 2. Two one the count to Dakota Phillips. The pitch from Draskovic. Sent chopping foul into the netting behind home plate. Nearing the 10 o'clock hour here from Evansville, Indiana. Thanks for staying up late with the Evansville Otters. They are in game 2 of a doubleheader with Windy City due to unplayable field conditions on Tuesday evening. That game was moved to tonight. 2 7-inning doubleheaders. Swinging strike 3 from Phillips. Sits him down on strike. So the first time in this game. And despite a 2-out single, all 3 outs in the inning come via the strikeout for Cal Draskovic. We head to the 5th inning right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Ready for the top half of the 5th inning. And once again, it is Ryan O'Reilly who heads back out on the mound. They just announced the attendance for tonight. 3,794, a great crowd on hand here at historic Bosse Field. I want to let you know that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by our friends at Old National Bank. Your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Due up in the top half of the 5th for the T-Bolts, Peyton Robertson, Bryn Martinez, and Jose Layer. Robertson struck out looking his first time up. He starts with a ball a bit high and inside. Spring is once again warming up for the Otters out there in right field. The 1-0 to Robertson falls in and evens the count at a ball and a strike. Time is called as a ball ends up in left field from the left field bullpen. And it looks like once again we're ready for a 1-1 to Peyton Robertson. And now time called in right field as a ball gets out in right field from the Otters bullpen. Looks like we're finally ready for a 1-1 to Peyton Robertson. O'Reilly nods and sends home the 1-1. Just misses on the high outside corner. 5-run advantage for the Otters. They've hit 3 home runs in this game thus far, all 3 of them 2-run shots. The 2-1. This one sent towards left, but it's going to end up just a tad bit foul. And the count remains at 2-2. They estimate that one went 343 feet. Would have been a home run had it been just a little more evened up. The 2-2 to Robertson. Sent back towards the netting. And the count remains 2-2. A good two strike approach from him. Two balls, two strikes. The delivery from O'Reilly. That one stays a bit towards the feet. And the count's at full. A little bit of a wait yet again for O'Reilly. Big nod up on the mound. A full count pitch. This one sent out towards left. Baez will chase it and watch it fly. A solo home run. And now the T-Bolts are within 4. Big home run there. Lot of home runs in this one. This a leadoff home run from Peyton Robertson in the 5th inning. It'll bring up the shortstop, Bren Martinez. Martinez struck out in his first appearance in this game back in the 3rd inning. It's all he's seen thus far. Shows bunt and leaves it just a bit foul. Would have been really nice if he kept it just a tad bit closer to the fair foul line. He had good speed out of the box. O'Reilly retakes the mound, kicks some dirt around, and now looks in for his sign on an 0-1. No outs, no one on. Windy City's already brought one across here in the 5th. First pitch, or next pitch to Martinez. Catches the high outside corner, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Would not be surprised if O'Reilly could get himself to these last 3, or these 3 outs here in the 5th. That would probably do it for his game. The 0-2. Swinging strike 3, and he has earned his 5th German American Bank strikeout of the game. So now the 9-hole hitter, Jose Layer, makes his walk up. Layer grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up in the 3rd. And he watches a first pitch strike grace the inside edge for a called strike 1. Oh, 1. Layer was way ahead of that one, and he's down 0-2 in the count. So now O'Reilly is looking at potential back-to-back strikeouts. It'd be the 2nd time tonight he's done it. The 0-2. And he's done it. Back-to-back Ks for the 2nd time in the game. 6 German American Bank strikeouts in the game for Ryan O'Reilly. And back to the top of the order we go, where the right fielder Jace Richards takes to the plate. Six strikeouts for O'Reilly, and he is now just 3 short of his 100th professional strikeouts. Probably not going to hit it in this game, unless he somehow got another inning of work. The first one to Richards, just misses on the high edge for ball 1. One ball, no strikes to Jace Richards. O'Reilly sends it his way. That one graces the low inside corner and evens the count on a ball and a strike. A 1-1. Big swing from Richards, and he falls down in the count 1-2. So after a leadoff home run to start the fifth inning for Peyton Robertson, Ryan O'Reilly is one strike away from striking out the remainder of the side. The 1-2 to Richards. Sent on a line towards Mattis. He just misplays it. Gets it to first. Oh, man. What a game for Zach Biermann. He has been exceptional keeping those balls in his mitt. Found a way to keep that one. And that's the third out of the inning. We head to the bottom half of the fifth. Otters lead by 4. Bottom half of the fifth inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Pitching change needed as Sebastian Selway will make his way to the mound for Windy City. Sebastian Selway will make his next appearance here on this season. It ends up being appearance number 7. He's given up 7 runs on 13 hits thus far this year. And that call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher-catcher battery is now Selway on the mound. Isaacson behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Final warm-up pitch here for Selway, and then we'll be ready to go with the bottom half of the fifth. Due up for the Otters, Baez, McNamee, and Gordon. All three have got a hit already. Baez had a single in the first. McNamee had a triple in the third. Gordon had a 2-run home run in the third as well. Baez struck out in that third on a pitch high and inside, a pitch he's been guilty of swinging at a lot. He steps in now for his third at-bat in this one. His first offering. Works high and inside. He lays off. The 1-0 for Baez. Selway sends it his way. Baez gets underneath it, sends it out towards right field. Richards thinks he's underneath it. A lot of movement to his left, and he does bring it in for the first out of the inning. That will bring up the right fielder, Elijah McNamee, who's 1 for 2. Grounded into a double play in the first, and then had that triple in the third. Was brought home on the home run from Gordon. McNamee quickly becoming, or has quickly become, even last year, one of the fan favorites here in Evansville, rightfully so. First offering for him in this at-bat. He lets it go by for a called strike one. He checked his swing there. The 0-1 to McNamee. Pushes it towards the right side. It does get foul, however. Crazy to believe that as soon as this game ends this evening, the Otters have completed a quarter of their schedule. Halfway to the All-Star break already. The 0-2 to Elijah McNamee. Sends it bouncing towards the left side, but foul. Headman Anna McCauley makes a nice play on the foul ball, and it's 0-2 for Elijah McNamee. Sebastian Selway taking a second on the mound. The 0-2 sent right back up at him. It'll get past the sliding second baseman Boone, and it's a one-out base hit for Elijah McNamee. That's good for the 10th base hit of the game for the Otters. It'll bring up the hard-hitting center fielder Miles Gordon. Hit a two-run home run in the third. That's right after he managed a home run in yesterday's game. One in the bottom of the ninth inning that gave the Otters a chance to play extras, where they went on to win the game in the 10th. First chance for Gordon. He takes a pitch outside for ball one. Maybe a bit low as well in that pitch. Small lead over there for McNamee at first, near the cutout. The 1-0 for Gordon. Bounces in there for ball one, and tell you what, Sebastian Selway just about slipped on as he landed on the mound. Selway stands 5'11", 175, but up there on the mound he does look a bit shorter than 5'11". Miles Gordon awaiting the next pitch. The 2-0 again misses. This one to the outside. Gordon way ahead in the count. We'll see if Gordon has a green light or if he's going to try to stay patient, take a ball here. The 3-0, Gordon lets it go. It's a called strike one on the outside edge. Just misses according to Yakkertech, but according to home plate umpire Kevin Furman, it's strike one. The 3-1 towards Gordon. McNamee breaking towards second. Doesn't matter. It's ball four. Gordon will head to first. It's a Deerhead Sidewalk Cafe and Bar. Four-run lead staying steady for Evansville. As with one out, they've got runners on first and second here in the bottom half of the fifth inning as the designated hitter Steven Sinsley makes his way to the plate. 1 for 2 in this game, has a double in the third inning, but he was left stranded out there at second. Sinsley with that open batting stance, and then he closes it up right at the last second when he steps forward to swing. First pitch is a breaking ball that catches the low edge of the zone for strike one. 0-1 the count for Steven Sinsley, looking to keep up his decent day on his first game in a week. The 0-1 double steal. They'll throw out to second, completely over the second baseman. They had no idea the throw was going out there. And both Gordon and McNamee earned stolen bases there. Didn't look like any one of the Windy City players were in the same mindset as to where they were headed. So a couple stolen bases now has a huge chance for Sinsley with 1 out. It's a 1-1 count, and there's now runners at second and third. The 1-1 catches the outside edge, and now Sinsley falls behind in the count. Big time opportunity for Sinsley to add some insurance to the Otters' lead. Sebastian Selway ready to throw home the 1-2. On the way. This one's chopped in the fair territory to the left side. Sinsley's going to reach on an infield single. Get those legs moving, big guy. Hard-earned single from Steven Sinsley. And the bases are loaded with 1 out for Selway. And there is no one warming up for Windy City out left. It'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, shortstop Andy Armstrong, who's 0 for 2 so far in the game. This is a great opportunity to break that scoreless trend and give your team a couple extra runs. The former Oregon State Beaver looking at his first pitch. And it catches the low inside corner for a called strike 1. Might have even been right across the heart of the plate even. An 0-1 for Andy Armstrong. Watches that one go by, and it just catches the outside edge, says the home plate umpire, Kevin Furman. Some of the Otters faithful don't love the call, but regardless, Armstrong's got to look at an 0-2 count now. The 0-2 to Armstrong. Extends the hands and keeps himself alive in the at-bat. There is an arm starting to warm up now, finally, for Windy City. I believe it's Daniel Kite. Also, as for the Otters, it does look like Tyler Spring is ready to come in whenever this half inning ends for the Otters. First, we got to see what Sebastian Selway can do on the mound. The 0-2 to Andy Armstrong. Armstrong sends it chopping towards the shortstop, who will hand it to second for 1. That's all they'll get. And it's a RBI fielder's choice from Andy Armstrong, his second of the day. He had one in game 1 as well. You score at 6-4 fielder's choice. Sinsley is caught on his way to second. McNamee scores. Gordon reaches third on the play. And it'll bring up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis, who is 1 for 2 with a double, walk, and strikeout so far in this one. Otters have an extra run of insurance. First pitch to Mattis just catches the outside edge of the zone. Runners on the corners for the Otters with 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. They've retaken a 5-run lead. The 0-1 to Mattis way outside. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. A look over to first for Sebastian Selway as he sends home the 1-1 to Mattis. Mattis half swings. They say he fouled it off. So he falls back in the count 1-2. One ball, two strikes to the leadoff man, Gary Mattis, who's trying to add an extra run of insurance for the Otters. He's got Gordon at third, Armstrong at first with 2 outs. The 1-2 for Gary Mattis. Swinging strike 3. He'll head back to the dugout with a strikeout, but not before the Otters are able to add an extra run of insurance. They lead 8-3 as we head to the 6th inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Ready to go in the top half of the 6th inning here. And it looks like a pitching change is needed for the Otters. They'll bring in Tyler Spring. Spring is going to be making his 4th appearance on the year. He's gone just over 4 innings of work. He's allowed 3 runs on 7 hits in those 4 1/3 innings in 3 separate games. A 6.23 ERA, which is currently the worst on this team. That's just because of his lack of opportunities. This call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher catcher battery now Spring on the mound, throwing home towards Phillips. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Leading off the half inning for Windy City, it'll be the 2-hole hitter, left fielder Dan Robinson. He has a single and a walk. First pitch is high and outside for a ball 1 to Robinson. Spring with a couple seconds break before his next pitch. This one's fouled off to the left side, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Dan Robinson, Daryl Myers, and Jake Boone due up in the half inning for Windy City. Otters are just trying to keep Windy City at bay and hold on to their 5-run lead. The 1-1 to Robinson. Off speed, just graces the outside edge. And now Robinson has to get defensive to stay alive in the counts. Getting late here from historic Bossy Field. Glad you're staying up with us. The 1-2 fouled back into the netting, and we remain at 1-2. Otters are right back here tomorrow night as they start a new series with the Gateway Grizzlies, a team they beat 2 out of 3 times last weekend on the road. They're in Sauget, Illinois. They'll welcome here to Evansville for the first time this year. The 1-2 to Robinson works way inside and evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. First time Spring has pitched in some time. Spring was unable to make the Canadian road trip, and because of that was put on the suspended list for a while and just didn't have a roster spot for a handful of games. Now he's back out there. Ground ball sent to Mattis on the right side. He'll send to first in plenty of time. They pick up a out to start off the inning. That'll bring up the best hitting T-Bolts on this team. The third baseman, Daryl Myers, he had a single in the fourth, came around to score on the RBI double from Jace Mercer. In order to find the last action for Tyler Spring, you got to go all the way back to the game against the Quebec Capitales, all the way back on the 21st of May. He gave up 1 run on 3 hits and 1 2/3 innings of work, in a game the Otters ended up losing. And that really aided in his struggles. He also gave up 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 2/3 innings of work against New Jersey on opening night, in a game the Otters lost as well. 0-1 the count now to Daryl Myers. Tyler Spring trying to stay on the right side of things. Big swing from Myers, and he falls down on the count 0-2. I want to thank everyone who has stuck with us this whole series. Due to some technical difficulties, we had some issues with Flow Sports, and we're able to bring you nonstop coverage here on the Otters Digital Network YouTube page. We're glad you have found a way to stick with us throughout this whole series. An 0-2 to Myers. That's way high and outside. And the 1-2 count to Myers now. 1-2 counts with 1 out for Myers. And this is skied out towards left center field. Long run for Baez and Gordon. And that one is going to get over the wall. No, it's caught by Baez. Got so dark out there in left center, I could barely see it out there. Baez just blended in with the TaylorMade sign. He actually brought it in for the second out. Man, they're at the very edge of the alleyways in both left center and right center. The lighting really is tough to see through. But it's now 2 down and no one on as Jake Boone makes his way to the plate. 1 for 2, or 1 for 1, with a single in the second and a sac fly RBI in the fourth. Oh, 1 to Boone. Tyler Spring sends it home. Misses just on the low outside corner. Nice pitch to at least try to challenge Boone. He says, no, I won't bite on that. We're going to get to see the return of Tim Holgrafer tomorrow night. He'll make his next start. He will enter the game with a 2-0 record as Spring finds the strike zone, goes up 1-2 in the count. Holgrafer is 2-0 officially in decisions, but the team is 3-1 when he pitches. He has been really solid all season long. Excited to see what he can do against Gateway tomorrow. First pitch at 6:35. The 1-2 works high and inside. Some negative energy from the Otters faithful on a pitch that, according to Yakertech, just caught the high outside corner. But Regardless, it's now going to be a 2-2 count for Jake Boone. Pitch really gets away from Spring, and the count goes to full. Looked like Spring just held on to that one a little bit too long. Try for the 3-2. Boone able to foul a little piece of it off and keep himself alive. Holgrafer is the league leader in ERA at .67 and is currently 6th in the strikeout category at 34. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch once again tomorrow evening. The full count to Boone. He breaks about as he sends it out towards left and drops it in front of Baez for a base hit. A 2-out base hit here in the 6th inning.
Number 21, Jace Mercer.
Sounds like the bat broke a little bit there. If so, there's some more lumber for you. Go get your new lumber at our friends at Niehaus Lumber. Brings up Jace Mercer, who has an RBI double in the 4th and a strikeout in the 2nd. Not necessarily an RBI chance here, but a chance to keep the inning going for the Thunderbolts. Spring sends it home. Sent out towards the gap in right center, down for another 2-out base hit. Gordon throws this one in. Rounding third is going to be Boone. The play at the plate, not in time. An RBI double for the 2nd time in the game for Jace Mercer. Two outs remain as the catcher Peyton Isaacson makes his way to the plate, following an RBI double from Jace Mercer that has brought the Thunderbolts within 4.
Peyton Isaacson.
Otters really hoping and praying now that they can hold on to this lead. First pitch to Isaacson. On the way from Spring. Misses inside, ball 1. Logan Sawyer doing some stretching out there in the right field bullpen for the Otters in case he would be needed in this game. The 1-0 to Isaacson. Again, low and inside. 2-0 the count now. Obviously, the Otters don't have to get too much further into the bullpen with a brand new series kicking off tomorrow against a team that has more rest than you, not having to play 2 games. And they'd love to be able to hold out the rest of this game. The 2-0 to Isaacson. He fouls it towards the right side and stays ahead in the count 2-1. 2 outs, a runner on second in the form of Jace Mercer, who has hit his 2nd RBI double of the game. So now the 2-1 count for Isaacson. Spring with a glance out towards second, now sends it home. Big swing on the 2-1, and the count heads to 2-2 with 2 outs. Tyler Spring trying to bring a close to this top of the 6th inning and keep Evansville up by 4. Sent right back up at him. Mattis with a long run. It goes off the heel of Mattis's glove. Another run is going to score. It'll be an RBI single for Peyton Isaacson. So it's the 2nd inning that Windy City has had back-to-back RBI hits. And with 2 outs, the lead now down to 3 in favor of the Otters. Tyler Spring just needs one more. Back-to-back-to-back base hits, all with 2 outs. The first offering to Robertson, across for a called strike 1. Robertson had a leadoff home run in the 5th inning. And here comes the 0-1. Another big swing, this time from Peyton Robertson, and he falls down in the count 0-2. Pretty small lead over at first for Peyton Isaacson, who just had that RBI single. As Robertson waits on the 0-2, lifts one up, foul on the right side. It will get out of play and land on top of the Bossy Field seating area here. And the count remains 0-2 with 2 outs. In motion that last play was Isaacson over there at first. Joe Riley now the one starting to stretch and toss for the Otters in right field. Here comes the 0-2. Stays high and away. 1-2 now the count to Robertson. Otters lead by 3 in the bottom or top half of the 6th inning in game 2 of our doubleheader. We're only playing 7 innings in this game, so this is a really important out for Tyler Spring to get. The 1-2. Robertson sends it towards the right side. Biermann picks it up, steps on first himself, and that ends the top half of the 6th inning. Not before 2 runs score for Windy City. They brought this to within 3. We've got the bottom half of the 6th coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network. Ready for the bottom half of the 6th inning. But first, let's let you know that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. And it's time that we let you know about the new man on the mound for Windy City. They'll ask the right-handed arm of Daniel Kite to step in. We had to see Kite in yesterday's game, and he will try to be the one to keep Windy City close in appearance number 12 on the season for him. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher catcher battery is Kite on the mound, throwing home to Isaacson. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give a call at 812-475-9000. Due up in the inning for the Otters, Biermann, Davis, and Phillips. Biermann has a 2-run home run, a foul outs, and a strikeout so far in this game. Big smile from him as he heads to the plate for at-bat number 4 in this game. First offering for Biermann. Ooh, sidearm approach from Daniel Kite. Didn't look like Biermann exactly knew where it was going to end up. Took it for a called strike 1. 0-1 to Biermann. Cranks one to the right side. Nice slide from the first baseman. In time, just barely. Windy City able to retire Biermann to start off the inning. So now the third baseman, J.R. Davis, will head in. 2 for 3 with an RBI single and then a second single in the fourth inning. And with this right now being a save situation, we're seeing Logan Sawyer start to warm up out in the right field bullpen. He is tied for the league lead in saves with Escorcia from Ottawa. He's got 6 of them this year. First pitch to J.R. Davis. Stays high, ball 1. A quick update on the line for the 2 pitchers we've seen thus far for the Otters. O'Reilly allows 3 runs on 5 hits and 5 innings of work, strikes out 6. As Davis sends one out towards left center field, down for a base hit. He'll round first. He might have a shot at 3 if he really goes, but he's just content with 2 and will stay put out there at second. A Deerhead double-decker double for him. His 3rd hit of the game. And now the catcher, Dakota Phillips, heads into the box. 1 for 2 with a 2-run home run, a strikeout, and a hit by pitch in this game.
The catcher, number 7, Dakota Phillips.
Phillips, the lefty catcher, trying to keep this 6th inning going for the Otters, just to add some more insurance. Joe Riley starting to warm up as well for the Otters, just in case it's not a save situation. If a run scores here, it will no longer be a save situation. First pitch to Dakota Phillips. Right back up the middle. Played by the shortstop Martinez on 1 hop over to first in time for out number 2. And with 2 down and now a runner on third, the left fielder Jeffrey Baez will step in. Baez 1 for 3 with a single back in the first inning, a strikeout in the third, and a flyout in the 5th. Baez is due for a really big night. And with the way this game is, this isn't necessarily the time to do it. Might as well save it for another opportunity. He's due for a really big hit at some point. Big swing for him, and he was a little out of range as that ball broke away from him. Down in the count 0-1. Baez takes a couple of practice swings as he readies himself up there. Another pitch high and outside. One the count to the left fielder Baez. He's got a runner on third. Again breaks outside. So Baez now ahead in the count 2-1. 2 outs, but if Baez can find a way on base, Elijah McNamee is on deck and ready to bat next. Long wait for Daniel Kite on the mound. Here comes the 2-1. Baez sends it chopping towards the left side. There's going to be a close play at first. Just in time for out number 3. And now we will head to the top of the 7th inning where Windy City's down to their last 3 outs. We will have a save situation for the Frontier League's leader in saves, Logan Sawyer. He'll come in right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Well, here it is, top of the 7th inning, and one of the league's best heads to the mound, Logan Sawyer, who is tied for the league lead in saves at 6. Will try to get it done on a late Thursday evening from Evansville. The righty out of Knoxville is getting ready for appearance number 8 on the season, trying to keep his perfect ERA intact. He'll face off against the 8-1-2 hitters of Windy City of Martinez, Layer, and Richards. Call to the Bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Sawyer on the mound, thrown home to Phillips. The pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Watch out. Sawyer can really zoom that ball home. In his save against Gateway, his 3 strikeout pitches were at 95, 96, and 94 mile an hour. He can really zoom him past you. First offering, high and outside to Bren Martinez for ball 1. Sawyer had such a huge future ahead of him, and that's not saying he doesn't now, but a Tommy John surgery really set him back a little ways. Needed 2 years to recover from that. Really starting to find his ground. 1-1 still the count for Bryn Martinez after a foul out to the left side. This is the 167th professional game played for Logan Sawyer. Over 240 strikeouts, 31 career saves. Takes a pitch on the low inside corner, and now Sawyer ahead in the count, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes to Bryn Martinez. This one is skied high and foul to the left side. 95 from Sawyer, tried to zoom it past. 1-2 the count for Bryn Martinez. Got it past him that time. A swinging strike 3. Good for the first German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Logan Sawyer. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Jose Layer. Layer 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a groundout. Layer managed to get on base in our first game. Was caught stealing, however. Oh, and he gets hit on a pitch that works high and inside. I think it might have caught the batting glove, or the batting helmet.
We are going to have the kids fly around the bases. However, we will not have those autographs. So the kids will still run the bases post game.
So heading to first now is Jose Layer. After being hit by a pitch, and we head to the top of the order where Jace Mercer steps in. 0 for 3 so far on the day for him. First pitch for Jace Mercer with 1 out and a runner at first. This one is skied towards left. Baez with a long run. It's going to end up foul, however. And the count to 0-1 for Richards. 0-1 for Jace Richards after the long foul out to left. 1 out and a runner on first for Windy City. Here comes the 0-1 from Sawyer. That one works way inside. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Otters will be right back at it tomorrow as they open a series against the Gateway Grizzlies. First pitch scheduled for 6:35. Love to see it here at historic Bosse Field. Gates open at 5:30 for Deaconess Healthy Night and 80s nights at the ballpark. The 1-1 to Richards. On the ground over to the right side. Sawyer will just toss over to first for the sure thing outs. And there's now 2 down as Layer reaches second on the fielder's choice. And that will force the left fielder, Dan Robinson, to be the last hope for the Thunderbolts in this game. Robinson is 1 for 2 with a single in the first, a walk in the fourth. He came around to score on the sac fly and then grounded out in the sixth. Robinson ready to go. The first pitch offered to him from Sawyer on the way. Catches the high outside corner for a called strike 1. Good way to start for Sawyer. Sawyer's got himself set. Has the count he wants. And ready to go on an 0-1. A glance out towards second. And here comes the pitch. Stays a bit low, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One for Dan Robinson. Sent back into the netting. And the Thunderbolts are down to their last strike. Sawyer almost 100% is going to throw the fastball here. I'd almost bet the farm on it. The 1-2 just misses on the high outside corner. Yakertek said it was a strike, but at the end of the day, it's Kevin Furman who decides balls and strikes. And the count is at 2-2. 2-2 count, 2 outs, and a runner on second. Logan Sawyer trying to close this one out. Stays just a tad bit high. Another pitch in the zone, according to Yakertek, that was called a ball by Kevin Furman. And we're at a full count with 2 outs. Really down to their last opportunity now is Windy City. Full count for Dan Robinson. Logan Sawyer trying to close out this thing. The payoff pitch. Got him looking. A looking strike 3, and that is the 7th. And Frontier League leading. 7th save for Logan Sawyer on the year. And the Evansville Otters win the series 2-1 over Windy City. They are now winners of their last 3 series. Great way to kick off this homestand. They continue with it against Gateway tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second with post-game stats and reaction. Otters win this one, 8-5. We'll be right back with post-game. And for the final time this evening, we welcome you inside historic Bosse Field, where the Evansville Otters have concluded the opening quarter of their season with an 8-5 win over Windy City, winning the series, and because of that have now won their last 3 series. Prior to these 3 series, they had just won 1 all season long. Great run of baseball for these Otters. They get it done in Game 2 of the doubleheader with Windy City. It started off in the first inning for the Otters. They got right on it. Gary Mattis reached on a single. Zach Biermann brought him straight home with a 2-run home run. That was all they wrote in the first inning, but have no fear. The Otters were able to add to it in the third. Lot of hits for him. RBI single from Davis gave him 1 run. Phillips added 2 more with a 2-run home run. After a McNamee triple, Miles Gordon hit another 2-run home run, putting the lead out to 7. Then we saw Windy City strike, scoring on a sac fly RBI in the 4th, and then a RBI double from Jace Mercer. They added a couple more runs via a home run in the 5th and back-to-back RBIs in the 6th, but it didn't matter as the Otters were able to add 1 more run of insurance in the 5th and go on to win this one 8-5, also out-hitting Windy City, and it's another errorless performance for the Otters. Really good to see that out of them as well. A lot of good to talk about here, obviously. It's nice to see Evansville once again bounce back with a strong performance after a loss in the opening game. They got the long ball activated really quick, and that led to making sure that they could pace themselves out there and keep up with it well. With a home run this year, the Otters are now 8-5. Obviously makes a difference when they can capitalize on the long ball and give themselves that opportunity. The bullpen pitched pretty well. Sawyer picked up another quality save. We saw Ryan O'Reilly finally have an outing that felt a little more confident out of him. Not quite a quality start, but still a solid start for him. Eager to see how he can bounce back with it in another 5 or 6 games time. Likely would take place against either Schaumburg next week or Lake Erie next week. The win goes to Ryan O'Reilly, his first win of the season. Brian Ketchy receives the loss, goes to 2-2. Sawyer, of course, with his league-leading 7th save. We saw a stolen base from Gary Mattis that extended his league lead out to 16. He's 2 ahead of Washington's Brannon, who is in second with 14. Nice to see the Otters bounce back. With the win, they advance up to 14-10, which has them just a half game out of first place from Washington. Schaumburg up in the mix as well, but the path doesn't get any easier. We see Gateway come to town for a 3-game set later this weekend. They're going to be a lot of fun to see at our place now after we were able to see the Otters win 2 out of 3 up at Gateway last weekend. We'll take one more look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard before we call it quits for the evening. Washington able to get a 10-9 win over Tri-City, and that is enough for them to obviously keep their lead there in the West Division. Empire State, Quebec, and Ottawa Trois-Rivières both postponed due to rain in Canada. New Jersey wins 5-4 over Lake Erie. Sussex County with an 11-5 win over New York. Gateway, big winners over Schaumburg, 14-5. Gateway used the home run ball in that one. We'll see if they can keep it going this weekend against these Otters. Joliet has a 6-4 win over Florence to sweep the Yalls. And then the last game of the evening, an 8-5 win for the Evansville Otters over Windy City. Pleased you've joined us all the way into the late hours here on a beautiful Thursday evening for baseball. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, we're pleased you've joined us for another edition of Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. For my partner Bill McEwen, who is unable to be here once again this evening, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for Otters Baseball. We'll talk to you tomorrow as the Otters host Gateway in Game 1 of that series, 6:35 first pitch, 6:20 is the pregame show here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We'll talk to you then. You have a great rest of your night.